Hello and welcome to episode 55 of the Inner Miami Show. I'm one half of your co-hosting duo, Brandon Griffin, and with me as always is Mike. He's finally gone longin. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing
Is the music
good.
going again? Am I hearing that just on my there we go. All right. I don't know what I'm more excited about. Am I more excited about Tata Out or that I was right? They're both good feelings. They're both really good feelings right now. How are you
Yeah,
doing?
you
Still
can't
having
go
some
wrong with either feeling, man.
I think you're still having some headphone issues, aren't you?
Yeah.
So while you're looking at that, I want to tell the viewers a story. Earlier today, you and I are chatting, and we're trying to decide if we're going to do a show tonight or not. And we kind of decided, you know what? There's not been a lot of news. Our friends at Better Herons are taking the week off. And literally, as I'm writing to you, like, yeah, let's call this one. The news broke. And all of a sudden, we're both going back and forth going, we are absolutely doing a show tonight. I can't wait to get on and have this conversation. So I see Mike V coming in with Mike V. You knew Mike V was going to be on time. Ole, 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 Tata Out. The heartbeat, our friend Scotty, moving up to Scotty, you know, that's what I've been saying from the beginning is that you had to have a world-class coach, a world beater to lead this team. And yeah, throw out a couple other ones. They're excited. What's up, boys? Our producer Joe is on a road trip right now. It's funny. We were talking to him earlier, and he's saying, "Hey, I didn't know why my phone was blowing up because I was driving, but and good for you, Joe, for not texting and driving. I think you make a world a safer place."
Yeah, he did. But he joined us and he's celebrating with us today.
I like there's a quote came out. This is funny. It's a little bit of celebration. And you know what's funny? So I'll say this. I just want to take 1 second to say this. So friend shared the story with me back when they were in college. They were going to University of Notre Dame, and I forget who the coach was back in the aughts, but it was a coach that wasn't leading them to glory. And after 2 or 3 bad seasons, they fire the coach, and the firing came out when they were in class. And literally, the whole class stood and cheered. And one girl cried and walked out. And as she was walking out, she said, "That's my dad. I don't care how you feel. Like, you can't celebrate the loss." And that's always stuck with me. I've always showed empathy for coaches and families. But Tata had one job, a singular job. It wasn't to grow players. It wasn't to get value. It was to win multiple trophies.
Yeah. And he
And
couldn't do it.
he could 4 straight tournament dropped out. We couldn't win them. Never won more than 2 rounds of a tournament, except for Leagues Cup. We haven't said that. A lot of times we've had these arguments about, like, should you count the U.S. Open Cup and what about Leagues Cup? But since the Leagues Cup, every tournament we were in, I think we got dropped in the second round of group play, of a one-on-one play, right? Like, we didn't do
Yeah,
an
I
U.S.
think you're
Open Cup.
absolutely right.
We lost to the first, so we beat Nashville and then lost the next round in CCC. Leagues Cup, we beat Toronto and lost to Columbus. And then here we didn't even make it past Atlanta. So he never made it past the second round of sudden death play.
Nope.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mike,
I hate that like you, I don't like celebrating someone losing their job, and it sounds like maybe he went out on his own, I don't know, on his own terms, but it's I think it's probably a win-win for everyone, right? Tata gets to go out, gets to go do his next thing or retire, do whatever he wants to do. And Inter Miami gets to find the guy who can coach his team for the foreseeable future and hopefully get better results when it comes to tournament play.
Yeah, I mean, your comment every single one of these shows was, we're a tournament team, we're a tournament team, we're a tournament team. And the one thing we could not do is win a tournament to save our lives.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It is, because we should have been. I mean, there's no reason we should have lost that. And now look at us against Columbus. We went to Columbus in the regular season against a fully formed Columbus, and we beat them. We beat them at home.
Yeah.
You know, that dropping, you really look at the Columbus loss where we were up 2 goals and poor substitution management cost us that loss.
100%.
To the eventual winners, by the way. Like, embarrassing. So
Oh
I,
yeah,
I last show, I did not have the blue flag up. I was deflated. By when I say last show, I share a show with the Battered Herons, whose gear I am wearing. I am repping some Battered Herons gear today. I couldn't put the blue flag. Like, I had lost some faith, and
that's
I
gone
know
now, isn't it?
came early, but Christmas came early, and Tata's out, and I am.
You're over the moon.
I
You can
am.
say it.
I am. I will say, I kind of be careful what you wish for, but I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna be happy. I have a good amount of rum to celebrate. Uh,
I don't drink during the week, but I'm having a hard seltzer for you.
no, I was really, I drank way too much this weekend, so I was really serious about being healthy this week and eating healthier and no drinking. But you had to. I didn't bring out the coquito. It's a little heavy on the calories for the weekday.
Woo.
But
No,
let me
I
go.
thought it.
We got a question from one of our viewers. Question for you: do you think this might have saved Henderson's job? What are your thoughts, Branton?
I think we will know what is going on with Henderson when we hire the new coach. I think the new coach hire tells us where they're going. I think if it's Xavi or Marciano, who both I'm not crazy about, but if it's one of those guys, I think it says Hendo's out. I think he's and I don't think it's Hendo's getting fired. I think when Hendo leaves this club, it's truly on his own terms because he's not he doesn't agree with the direction that the club's moving. I think if this club does something surprising and goes after like a Jim Curtin, I think that tells you Hendo is in for the long haul. Is my personal opinion. I do not expect to be sitting here and see Jim Curtin announced as our coach, but I think that's kind of an indication of what may or may not be happening with Hendo.
I think this decision's been already made. There were so many rumors throughout the year Hendo was out. There was, they never, I don't think, admitted to the contract extension because there must have been one because his contract was up beginning
Yeah,
of the year. I don't think he's coming back regardless of what happens. We'll get into the coaching search in a while. I agree with you. If Jim Curtin was coming, Hendo would stay. But I think it's more likely we pull a U.S. men's national team and rehire Martino before we would bring in Jim Curtin. And I love Jim Curtin. We've argued this point. I think he's one of the best coaches in MLS. I think it was for the best for him to leave Philadelphia, and I expect to see him in Atlanta next year. Personally, I think that's where he ends up.
Curtin, you think?
I do because Atlanta's Curtin's
I think
biggest.
they keep their coach. They have to now.
I don't think they have to. And if Jim Curtin's available, if you look at Philadelphia's history, I know we debate it. Their biggest issue was they wanted to develop players, not buy. And one of the reasons he was fired was because the chief soccer officer, whatever they call it over there, was getting upset with Curtin that he was not playing the young kids. He was trying to play the veterans and win games. Curtin was choosing
Hmm.
over development. Atlanta wants to win now and has pockets. So that's the kind of team he's going to end up at. There's a couple other. I don't think Austin's picked a new coach yet, so I think Austin would probably be on that list. But it's going to be a team that has pockets and wants to win now, or win in maybe not like Miami win now, but win over the next 3 to 5 years, like 3 years.
Yeah,
That's where Curtin's going to go.
I could see it. You know, I just my only problem with Curtin and friend of the show Albert nails it is I don't think he has the pedigree to coach Messi. And
Oh
I think
no,
that's
he doesn't
that's
speak the
that's where
language
we
either.
run into a problem. Like you're gonna end up getting it's gonna be Xavi. I mean, like there's no one else.
I think there are some names. We'll go through them. But you have to be not just a Spanish speaker, but a Spanish speaker with a pedigree that Messi and others will listen to. And Curtin is none of those things. I don't think there's a coach in MLS today that could take over his job. And I don't think there was a coach previously in MLS. This will be, in my opinion, a coach that has zero MLS experience, which
Yeah.
is a problem in upon itself. And I think that's where losing Henderson is huge. Zero MLS experience. He's gonna come in, and I was saying this to you. I know some people on Twitter were kind of going back and forth. Like, I hope this is something that can develop our players. Listen, this coach is going to come in with a 1-year contract. Maybe they'll call it a 2-year contract, but it's a 1-year contract, 1+1. You are to win next year, and maybe at our first season in MFP, and then you go do your thing, and we're going to go do our thing and move on. So it's going to be a name people know. I don't think there's going to be any surprises here. Well, I have one surprise in my head, but it's a name still people know.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think we're gonna get surprised by this. I really don't. I think, there's a very good reason why Chavi is probably still available, and I think, you know, with MLS at this point, it has to be a coach that's already out of contract
It
or
doesn't.
a free agent. It can't be someone who's under contract because you're not gonna wait till the summer to bring a coach in.
Listen, so this is so I'm glad you brought this up. I wanted to discuss this. I don't think that's true because money speaks at the end of the day. And if the Moss brothers, who at the end of the day are billionaires, $20 million for the Moss brothers is not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things. If they wanted to go out and spend $20 million release clause for a coach, that is in their power. I'm not saying they will.
Yeah.
But I don't think everyone that's locked into it has to be an available coach.
But
Is
see,
thinking money.
I think but I think like if you're going down your path where it's a 1 year plus one, you're not spending $20 million on a release clause for a coach.
I think you do.
I don't think so.
This is for Club World Cup. This is where you don't want to be embarrassed. This is for
Okay, but
CCC where you want to
like
win.
regardless of who the coach
Oh,
is, we're
I
going to
missed
be
you.
embarrassed in Clubs World Cup.
I know. But
We can't get past
don't-
Atlanta United. You think we're gonna draw like Chelsea and Man City and Bayern Munich
No,
and we're gonna
no.
be all right?
Hold on. There's a lot of teams in Club World Cup that aren't playing in Europe that are going to be beatable that you don't want to lose to. Name your
Auckland City is the only one I would say.
You love Auckland City.
Yeah, but let's be real. Like the A League is, you know what? I bet you they give us a run, but they don't beat us. But I bet you like some of those North African teams that made it, Moroccan teams are pretty good.
There's going to be 3 Mexican teams that we should be able to compete with. There's going to be. I don't think
we couldn't compete with them this year. What makes you think we're going to compete with them next year?
Because we're not going to have Tata.
We'll see.
You can't lose to the African Federation teams. Yes, they'll give us a run. Sure, we should be competitive in those matches. Those are the matches we have to be competitive and not be embarrassed in, and that's the expectation for this coach. You're right. Chelsea, you're not going to beat. Real Madrid, you're not going to beat. Who's Man City, Bayern, maybe PSG.
Yeah.
Inter Milan. Like you're not going to really. You're not. These are not the expectations. But I'm going to get the Euro Red Diamonds. I don't know who they are. I should. Maybe I'm going to get beat up for that. But like those are teams that we should be competitive with.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly I don't care about Club World Cup. We're not going to win it. So I honestly could care less about that. It's a cool tournament. It's a cool idea, but I'm more concerned with what this coach does in CCC and what they do in the playoffs.
I agree. It's probably Xavi who's out or one of these guys out, but I just don't think we should be limiting those thoughts. It has to be like money's not a huge restriction here. Now, are we going to go break Pep's contract? No, we're not going to break Pep's contract. But there are other guys out there, 1 year left in their contract, year and a half left in the contract that you could be thinking about.
Who?
I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm saying we shouldn't be limiting our thought. Like I bet you the Moss brothers are not limiting their thoughts. Maybe they're not willing to pay the price, but they're at least considering it.
I don't know, man. You got me thinking already about last week when you were like, listen, the conversation's already been had, the contracts have been thrown out, and we were all like, no, that couldn't happen. And then here we are.
Especially, I don't know if it's Taylor Twellman or one of the other guys said the rumor started in September that this was going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, listen, guy's packing his bags. He's moving on. This picture has to give Mike V. This has to be like his I don't know. He might have this pinned up on his wall, him with his suitcase, moving on out. But I mean, I think with Tata leaving, we do kind of have to acknowledge like there were some successes. He did bring us our first two trophies with Leagues Cup, and obviously the Supporters Shield, and broke the points record for the regular season. While it didn't put a star over the badge, it definitely gave us some cool memories. Definitely kind of started us on that winning path, and so hopefully whoever comes in next has to pick up the mantle and keep moving forward. Because for all the grief and all the heartache that Tata caused us, he did bring us the trophies and the point record. So I do think it's important to acknowledge that, and thank him for doing that. I just don't think that he was up for this job.
Now, I'm not going far to say thank you. I think his name will always be in the history books in Inter Miami, and it's deserved to be in there. There's no asterisk. Like, he was the coach for Leagues Cup, he was the coach for Supporter Shield. Uh, but I made the argument a couple times, and I've pissed off some people doing it. But almost any coach should have had some measure of success with this roster in MLS. This was the win it now season. We had the best roster MLS has ever seen, and the expectations were high. I think, yes, getting the points record, that's the thank you that he gets. That he did that. The team did that even without Messi. I've made some strong arguments, I think, to show that he should have been able to do this. He was on even terms in a number of games, and he would still get the win. Uh, it wasn't like he was undermanned ever. But the thank you, he won't get the thank you from me. He gets the thank you as he sees his name in the history books, the way I see it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he does also kind of. I think he deserves credit for some of the youth that he brought in and the youth that he developed. I don't want to say developed because I don't think he was here long enough to develop or claim that he developed like Noah Allen or people like that. But I think he provided opportunities for them to thrive and put
Here,
them in
oh,
positions.
damn it, Branton. Now I got to say something nice. I actually think he developed some players, specifically Noah Allen. We know him a Noah Stan, but if you had said a year ago Noah will be the top two center backs we have in this team, we all would have laughed and said you're crazy. And by the end of the year, we were wondering why the hell Noah wasn't playing as the predominant center back. So that's 100% on Tata. And you're right. Here's the credit. It's credit. It's great for the player. Um, I'm struggling on the other players he necessarily. Yannick Bright.
Yannick,
I think
yeah,
without Tata, we probably never hear about Yannick Bright. Um,
he found Gomez, and
I'll
I
think
think he was in. He
Gomez
was
was going to be found eventually.
But for Ias, I think he was in on him as well. He brought in talent, and like we'll see how that continues to develop. And I hope for the next coach, like we bring somebody in who has experience working with youth, can develop people. Um, Francisco, I do want to say that even if we didn't win the Supporter Shield, we still qualified for CCC by being in the top four.
He
Was
he
it?
might he might have met CWC.
Yeah, Club World Cup for
I'm
sure.
assuming he meant Club World Cup
Yeah,
because
but
yeah,
for
we
CCC,
were
we
already in CCC.
qualified with weeks to go in the season, just because of the teams above us had already qualified through
Yeah,
different reasons and stuff.
but yeah, that's the end. Tata's end era's end. So let's start. Who's coming? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'll spoil it now. Like it's gonna be Chavi. Like it's gonna be Chavi. Like that's my feel. My gut feeling tells me that. Um, I'm okay with this because I think I think it was Sean. I didn't put it up at the time. It might have been Ash or Sean in the chat put it up. He's a young guy. He's got time to learn from his mistakes. And I think he did a good job like playing youth at Barca. Like I think he was kind of doomed with that team. Um, but I think this is probably our next head coach. And in my opinion, he is somebody whose tactics are at least up to date with this century. And I think he can at least make tactical adjustments and probably go right in, and like we can look at his Barca time and say, okay, it wasn't great, but I think you slot him in, and he's already a top five MLS coach, easy.
I don't think you even say if. I mean, he's going to come in. No MLS coach has the pedigree. It's not a very long pedigree for Xavi, but it's got a big name on it. And I think he does come in. He has the predominant name. He wasn't my first choice. I mean, I've said it many times on the show. I thought Pochettino was the first choice. And after watching last night's game of the U.S. dismantling of Jamaica, uh,
Yeah,
there was a reason why he was my top coach. Uh, I do think Xavi's the shoe-in. I think that's where everyone assumes. And he was the guy who I always kind of was in the back of my head of saying, okay, the contract signed. There's already started talking. Um, yeah, it's hard not to look at this and see like 2-1 odds. It's going to be Xavi from an outsider looking in.
yeah. I mean, you know well, we'll go through like my wild card pick at the end, but
I got
the
one
other
for you
name
too.
that's huh?
I've got a wild card for you too that no
Yeah,
one has right now.
I've seen a couple people mention mine, but next person up heavily linked is Marciano. I'm I don't know enough about him as a coach. I know he coached Argentina at the Olympics, and there's a lot of and coaches their under 20 setup. I know there was a lot of rumors that Messi was going to go and play in the Olympics, and this was going to be a big reason. As a player, I loved him as a center back. I loved him with his time at Liverpool. Um, he played at Barca. Like, good guy, good personality. I thought he had great character, and so, um, I know he and
So
Messi are super close. I don't think it's probably hard to get out of a U20 contract to take over a pro team, but um, I don't know that he has enough experience to kind of handle this
that's my
team.
issue with him, and specifically the experience he's had. I don't think he's coached above a U23 team, or I didn't even think he was coached above a U20 team. So though I see Francisco in the comments mentioning U23. Like I don't think he's had the experience with star players. You don't like he played with them, but it's different when you're managing them, right? There's a
Yeah,
very different set of expectations. Like I say, he doesn't have familiarity, but that set of expectations of managing these players, being able to command a respect in the locker room from a managerial perspective, not a player perspective, I think is going to be a challenge for him, which is funny because when I give my guy, he has the same problem. Um, I know that name's being bounced around. I saw it a couple times already today, but I don't think that's it. Could
yeah.
be wrong, but I don't think that's it.
No, I don't either. I think he, like I said, I don't think he has the coaching experience to really say like we're going from Tata to him. Like I don't think I think that's a hard sell. But you know, the next one that I haven't seen any like legitimate rumors about outside of people connected to the not connected to the team, but that cover the team like wishing for, including I think both of us is Jim. Like Jim Curtin would be
No way.
in my mind, Jim Curtin's the guy that you bring in if you want to set this team up for past the Messi era.
So first off,
I
this is a
don't
great
think
picture.
it's
Like,
huh?
great job finding this picture. This is a great picture. I don't know how long you spent looking for like, is there a random picture of Jim Curtin shaking Messi's hand? But this is fantastic work.
Yeah, I almost put the video in of him like in his first game coaching against Messi. Like he like gushed about him and it was pretty cool. But
There's no
yeah,
way in hell this happens. And I'll give you the reason why. It's your exact reason. Curtin would build a great program that could last after Messi. Well, that's just okay. That's one reason, and that's not what we're looking for. I do think Curtin could be our coach after Messi. Like 2027, 2028, we're looking for a head coach. If Curtin's still around, like he's the guy you come in and rebuild the program after the destruction we're doing to it. I don't see at all a chance Curtin comes in. I think the language barrier. I know people are saying that Messi speaks English. These guys' native language is Spanish. We've seen this consistently. There's guys on our team that don't even speak English. Like they're going to want a Latin coach. It speaks to the Latin viewer that this team is looking for. No way it's Jim Curtin. It's such an odd man fit. It would just be a horrible decision. And again, I love Jim Curtin. I think
yeah,
you specifically, Brandon, have not given him the credit that he deserves for what he's been accomplished in this league.
Well, so and I think
Calling you
Sean's
out.
comment here is probably exactly why I think that this job would interest Jim. Because Sean saying Curtin works as an academy president. He was Philly longtime B coach who sent players to the union all the time, ready to play. And I think Jim is ready to break that like stigmatism about him. I think his next job he wants to go out and show his tactical acumen, see what he can do with quality players, and you know, I I, I think he could be a great coach for us. I think um with the right talent around him, who knows what he can do in this league? Because he's done a lot with very little for the most part in his time at Philly. He got Carranza, and then Carranza was sold like a year later. Like they get him talent, and then they just kind of flip it. And to see what he would do with sustained talent would be really interesting.
I agree, but I
So
think that's why he ends up in Atlanta or another mid-level, mid-money market with owners that are willing to spend. That's where I kind of see him ending up.
I see him more maybe in Austin, a team that has
I said
ambition.
Austin too.
Yeah,
But I think Atlanta has ambition too.
but I think especially if Atlanta moves out of the next round of the playoffs, I think they're gonna have a hard time selling that they're not gonna
That's
retain
true
retain
because
the guy they've got
their
now.
fan base loves that coach, the interim
Yeah,
coach.
that's why I don't think, and I think Arthur Blank, like the way he was their owner, the way he was interacting with the coach and stuff after the win, like he's a big loyalty guy, and I just feel like that's probably a guy that's going to stick around at least through the next year. Maybe Busquets retires and coaches. We get his
Okay,
salary off the book.
so here,
That would
funny
be
enough,
nice.
I want to cover some other ones, but my dark horse, Iniesta.
I've heard his name thrown around. Yeah,
I there's the close now he has the same problem, right? No experience, nothing. But if Messi wanted Iniesta to coach this team, and Iniesta, by the way, just 5 days ago bought like a third level team in did I see Portugal? Somewhere. I was just reading about it. But my dark horse candidate is Iniesta, just because of those relationships there. And I wouldn't surprise me to see him get into coaching. And this is a place where he could do it. And I suspect he would like to come. I don't think he's in America much. I think he'd like to come here.
yeah. My dark horse is who I was hoping for before we hired Tata is Bielsa.
Where is he now, though? He's
He's with
someplace.
Uruguay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
I don't think it'll happen at this point, but I would love Bielsa.
where's the Sean? Was Sean? Does Sean not know?
Sean's put
Someone
on
have
here Manuel Pellegrini a couple times. That'd be an interesting
Oh, no,
hire.
he also recommended Guillermo. Guillermo, I can't pronounce his last name. Shaletlo. He did coach in MLS, not very successfully. Lots of South America. He actually played for Argentina, 10 caps on the Argentina national team, but pre-Messi. Uh, I think that's an interesting. I see the thought process there, but I
Yeah.
don't think he's the guy that's going to command the respect.
The other person I saw on people just mentioning on Twitter that I thought was interesting because we were linked with him before we hired Diego Alonso is Marcelo Gallardo. I think he's back at River Plate now, but
By the way, another landing place for Jim Curtin. I'm just seeing that FC Dallas is currently on an interim coach. I don't think I realized that, but that's another place with great
uh,
academy,
yeah, but
ambition,
they don't
lots of
spend.
ambition. They've spent before.
It's been a while.
I think they could sell him on that.
Maybe.
By the way,
Um,
I've seen another dark horse name mentioned that is not coming back. Phil Neville will not be coming back. I know that's going to upset some people,
I
but
almost put Phil's picture in the slide deck, but Francisco with Santiago Solari. That's interesting. I didn't know his cousin of Redondo's mother. That's interesting. Uh,
Uh,
Joe Kerr.
Zidane is available.
Oh yeah, he is. I just don't think. I don't think with the Barca boys you go and hire Madrid legend. Can he coach these guys? I think so, but I don't know that
But
that
I,
he's
I
on
think
their
the point
list.
here is this is going to be a name that people come up with. I think. I don't think Sean. By the way, Hendo, Curtin at Atlanta would be the dream. I 100% agree with this.
Hendo's not going
That
to Atlanta.
I mean, he made the
Oh.
comment that people assume he's going to Atlanta because of something. He didn't say he's not going.
No, but I think I think that comment he made to us though was because he left Seattle to do his own thing and to get out of Gareth Lagerwey's shadow. And I don't see why he would go right back into his shadow in Atlanta after being a chief soccer officer, because that's what Gareth Lagerwey is. If he goes to Atlanta, it'd be like as a GM. It's like a step down, and I don't think that's
I mean,
Hendo.
sometimes you climb the mountain, and you realize you're happy to hang out at base camp.
I don't think so.
We're not going
Hendo
to go
does
mountain
not
climbing then.
strike me as that guy that's happy going backwards.
I don't know, man. His family's hit that level of success where he wants to go watch them play and do things like that.
I think there's some truth to that, but I also think that he's an ambitious guy. I don't see him wanting to go back into somebody's shadow. If he wanted to do that, he would just stay here and let these all these new people we're
No,
bringing in overshadow him.
I think he wants out of this place as much as they probably want him out. Don't quote me on that.
I
So
could see him totally going to again. I think him and Jim Curtin maybe pair up, but I think in Austin.
yeah, but then they're under
I
what's his
think they
name?
get rid
Guy?
of him.
What's his name? The father.
Reyna, Claudio Reyna.
Reyna. Yeah, Claudio Reyna.
I think they part ways with him at the end of the season, and then they bring Hendo and Curtin.
Oh, I can
That
see
would
that.
be a move.
Sean bring up a good point, and I think that's what we're saying. Miami is the hardest job in MLS. I think that's
Oh yeah,
well, here's the statement. Hardest job is interesting. It is the job with the highest expectations, but also the roster that can achieve those expectations. Like you have the
yeah,
highest expectations, right? But you do have at least last year. I think this is what we don't know. Next year is a different year, and I think we're all so we haven't said it yet. The cut day start is on 27th, so I think we're about a
hmm
week from the cut days.
yeah,
Those cuts that are going to be announced, may not be done with the head coach's approval unless they sign someone this week. B, like I think there's going to be names on that list that shock us all. We may be looking back on this season saying this was the better team. And so to kind of support Sean's point, next year may be a much harder job. Not to mention the rest of the league is getting better. We've
yeah,
seen that. You saw what Cincinnati did yesterday. Highest transfer fee ever, $17 million transfer fee for their new striker. Like the money's flowing out of MLS to bring the players in.
yeah. And the league and Don Garber have challenged the owners to spend ahead of the 26 World Cup, and I think we're seeing that happen. And so, who knows what'll happen. We could see more rule changes in the off season. We could see who knows? I mean, hell, we could even see Tata change his mind between now and the 22nd, because
Yeah,
I
well, I think
think Friday they're doing the end of season. I think Alex Winley put it out that they're doing the end of season press conference with Hendo and Tata and I think Jorge Mas.
well, I think the problem is when you say you're leaving for personal reasons, it's hard to go back on them. So I
Yeah,
can't imagine Tata change. And again,
I'm
I
just
think
saying, like
it was
crazier
reported
things
that
have
this was actually
happened.
the team was told this last week, uh, which means that the search had already started when I said on the show last week that the search has started. So I was definitely vindicated in that statement. Thank you. Cheers to me.
I feel like
Uh,
you knew something last week now.
I didn't have a clue. Besides, I was so frustrated with Tata that,
Yeah.
and again, I think if you're a good back office, you're always looking past your current guy. You always have a board somewheres, not very visible, that has 4 or 5 head coaches that you're interested in if something threw up. Because it goes both ways, right? You might fire someone, they might quit. Tata might have been offered the Argentina job again and might decide he wanted to go back to it. So, you're always thinking about what it is. I do honestly believe, though, Xavi was reached out to a long time ago. So if it is
Yeah.
Xavi, I do think it was preordained. If it's not Xavi, I suspect Xavi said no. That's my
Yeah, they
that's my total Mike just made this up theory, but I think there's truth to
No,
it.
I agree, and I think we probably already have our coach lined up at this point. I don't think you start leaking that news until, you've got somebody signed, and just like you said, like, there's deadlines coming up for roster cuts and things like that, and I think you've already got your coach in place, and I think you've already got it sorted what's gonna happen with Henderson because, whoever's gonna be here next season is making those calls, and if
Yep.
it's not gonna be Hendo, whoever's there is making the call.
And Messi has a huge say in this.
Mm,
He has the say in it, in my opinion. I don't know if he's the one bringing the guy in or is the one just with the final say, but he's got the say.
yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Francisco's a man of my own heart. I don't know if you watched me on Battered Herons last week, but this is exactly what I was saying. That this has been
Yeah.
decided. They had been thinking about this for a while. It's not like Tata had an amazing season and blew it. There was a long time where there was some ups and downs from the ESPN. I know Branton really thinks ESPN is a great news program for soccer. ESPN from day one had Tata on the hot seat. Start of the season, Tata on the hot seat. So I do think this was long ago prepared for.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think we both I don't know, we were both pretty early adopters of Tata Out.
Yeah.
I think I
God no,
started the season with Tata Out.
I did, and I got let's just say I got a lot of hate for that. And thanks for watching the show. I appreciate y'all. Sean asking, could the Moss Bros and Beck be tired of picking the messy man for last 2 years with no star and might finally go with their guy? Do we say their guy was Neville and it didn't work either? I don't
Uh,
think you piss off Messi to bring in another Beckham guy. Especially, just reminder, all rumors say Messi is going to be an owner of this club come retirement. So Messi's guy is going to be he's going to have a say in the guy for the foreseeable future. So I don't think there's any way you get around this not being Messi's guy.
yeah, unless the only other reason you would go against that is like if Messi's kind of already given you an indication that he's not going to pick up his option for 26 and he's going to bolt after next season, then I think then you maybe look past that and go a different way. But
I will put
um,
my stake in the ground unless MFP is pushed back in another entire year. That's my one qualifier. If MFP is going to be available in 2026, if they're going to be selling season tickets in 2025 or 2026, Messi absolutely plays an MFP because you can't fill that stadium season tickets without Messi.
I agree. I mean, I don't disagree with you, but I have to wonder, is the Messi draw going to be enough to fill that stadium when they move to MFP? Because we're seeing that it's not enough to fill Chase.
I so I think by mid-season, no. I
Yeah.
think the first few games of MFP, they're going to pack that sucker to the rafters.
Mhm.
Uh, I do think the Messi hangover is here. We see the ticket prices aren't going. I think that also is going to come down to what they price MFP at. Are they? Can you get into non-supporter section? Because I know supporter section gets a little benefit, but if you can't get into non-supporter section for under $1,000 for the season, I don't think this concept that if you build it in Miami, they will come is going to hold true.
Yeah. I agree. But that's tomorrow's problem. Today's problem is finding a new coach.
Uh, or as we've said, tomorrow's problem might just be announcing the new coach.
I don't think they announced the coach before Friday.
You said that the press conference is Friday?
Yeah, the 22nd.
They might not announce it, but it might be done.
Might be done, but I don't think we hear about it until at least next week. Give Tata the opportunity to say what he has to say and move
So
on.
Sean pointing out the MFP is only 3,000 more seats in Chase. Yeah, but we're seeing for non-season ticket games, they were struggling to sell the stadium, which is where my point is that I think they're going to struggle in MFP, especially if the prices are high. If they bring the prices down, maybe, which I would love, right? Like I want to pay less. We'll see. Francisco, sorry, asking when does Miami have to sign contract extensions? 27th of this month. So new coach is going to come in making decisions if they get him in by time. Now, there's nothing to say that they haven't already had those conversations. So, for instance, I think Martino probably was. They're already having conversation with Martino about the U22 spots. They were filled
Mhm.
immediately after his coming in. I would suspect this is already like, hey, you're interviewing for this job. Of these names, who would you keep? Give us some
Yeah.
ideas.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Ash, I don't know about that.
If it's
I don't know about
Ash
that.
saying if the team plays beautiful football, people come. I absolutely disagree with that statement. Beautiful
Yeah.
football has done nothing to fill these stands one way or the other.
The only team that's been able to fill stands consistently while putting a competitive product on the field has been the Heat. Um, so, it's big shoes for Inter Miami to fill. But we'll see. Hopefully being in Miami will help. But we'll see. Like I said, we have a long time before we have to worry about that. And if, as producer Joe suggests, we hire Coach Longan to go ahead and fill the void left by Tata, that stadium might be empty.
Yeah, but let's be clear. I would do a better job at subs mid game than he did. He would have done everything else better than me, I'm sure. I'm not going to argue that point. But I could have sat there and made better substitution decisions than he made on any given day.
I don't doubt it.
Any given day. As I'm texting
Yeah.
you, for the love of God, put Campana in.
Yeah. Whoever thought you'd say that?
You knew a table had turned when I started saying that. All
Yep.
right. Today's been a good day.
Yeah, Sean, another good point. Dolphins are the only team that can suck and draw. I don't know about the Heat. I remember watching the Heat with no one in the pink elephant. Yeah. I
But
think this era of the Heat's a little bit different because they make the playoffs, but let's be
the
honest, like they
Heat's
kind of
also
suck.
weird. When's the last time you went to a Heat game, Branson? You been to one recently?
It's been like 2 years.
On a nighttime game, they don't fill the stadium till halftime.
Yeah,
Like the first
but
half of the state game, no one's there. And like it's a part of the nightlife, I think, where it's
yeah,
located. And I think Miami will not benefit from that. First off, it's an outdoor stadium. People are gonna be hot and sweaty. They're not gonna be like, oh, I just went here. Let me go over to 11. Like it's a much different vibe. The outfits are much different.
hmm
So, like, I don't think there's that element that MFP is gonna be a part of the Miami night scene. The Miami Heat is very much a part of the scene.
yeah.
Like I had friends that went the other day. They bright line down, hit up a great steakhouse, went to the Heat mat game, had a blast, bright line back up. Like that is what you can do with Miami Heat. You cannot do that with an outside soccer stadium in most situations.
No, you have to hope that, like Sean said, like it's something like the Dolphins where you just draw, and no matter what.
Ash with Ash, you've made many great statements in our time at this show, but this might be the best one. If we hire PK as manager, we can have Shakira do the halftime shows.
They're not together anymore.
Doesn't matter. I'm still in on this. She'll
Oh,
do it just to
well,
make him jealous.
maybe. I don't know. I'm okay with hell. We don't need PK. Just have Shakira. Just give her like a part ownership of the team.
Shakira.
Yeah,
Sean's with me on this. I don't know if it was the Shakira comment, the Miami Heat comment. I've got Sean on my side.
yeah. I think he's in. Dudes, yeah. we're happy to be here, and like Mike said at the beginning, dude, we were literally texting about not doing a show this week because I was like, what are we gonna talk about?
And then
Oh,
the news broke, and it was like, we're doing a show, and you're like, I am
I
setting it
think
up
I had
right
the
now.
thumbnail ready to go for your approval, and scheduled the episode within minutes.
The only thing was, the show's name tonight was Tata Out. The other option we should have done is, and what will Mike's other two wishes be?
Listen, the show is for the fans. It's not about you.
No, tonight's about me. I
Well,
got my wish. Now, what'll be funny is in next year, if we crash and burn, people are like, Mike, you got your wish. How do you feel now? I'm still happy Tata's out.
yeah. Now, what if we get Curtin?
Oh, I'd love it. I'm not
Hendo
gonna have no complaints about it.
extension and Jim Curtin, and I think that's all you need in life.
No, I absolutely think that would be great. I think there's no zero chance. I just don't
Oh yeah,
think I don't think he's the coach of this team.
yeah,
The same way, listen, I have multiple times said I'm a Phil Neville fan. I think he was run out of town. He was the interim coach. I think he did everything he could. I would not have him coach this team. He'd be set up for failure. I think Jim Curtin looking for a win a little bit, he's not set up for success here. Because even if he wins here, it'll ever forever be, well, he was messy. He had messy. It
yeah,
doesn't count.
yeah,
So I wouldn't want him to be here almost at this level. Like as much as I like it, I think it actually hurts him more. Uh, I
yeah,
I want Jim Curtin to end up. If another thing, I want Jim Curtin to end up in the West because I'd like to see a Jim Curtin up against LAFC and LA Galaxy. I think that would be even more fun.
yeah. I mean, and like with Hendo, I was feeling like he was gonna stay until the last time we saw him.
I
You didn't see him, I don't think. I saw him.
so last time he didn't have a Miami hat on. I noticed that.
No, he had a black blank hat on,
Yeah.
and to me that said I'm out because it was after we had lost.
I don't think Hendo's back. I don't want to say I know it because this rumor's been going around for months, almost a year now. So like I can't believe either side of it. But I don't think he's back.
Mm-mm.
And I think he's gonna be very successful wherever he goes.
I'm gonna miss him. I'm
We
gonna
all
miss
miss
him a
him.
lot.
He was huge.
Well, we'll probably still see him at Fort Lauderdale United games every now and then, as long as his daughter's here.
Which I'm missing this week.
Yeah,
Wife
I'm
was
missing
to
too. I'll
dinner.
be in Disney.
Oh yeah, I'm in Disney 2 weeks later, but I'll be back the week after.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, well, oh, we should have put it in the deck. You got a selfie with the legend,
I
Breck Shea.
did. I saw Breck Shea people, and he did not have a lizard in hand, so I was a little
No,
disappointed.
he was cool, man. I talked with him for a little bit after the game. He was fun.
It's Breck. He's awesome.
Yeah,
My problem is I'm at best carrying around stuff to get autographed for All United. I'm not carrying random Inter Miami shit.
yeah. I wish, man. Wouldn't that like? I wish I would have just had like an Inter Miami hat or something, and just been like, "Hey, can you sign this?"
What's funny is he's so recognizable. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of guys from the team that you just wouldn't recognize 2 years later. Breck Shea, you know, because he hasn't changed his haircut. He
Well,
hasn't tried to
yeah.
stop looking like him.
And the second like we walked in, I was like, "Holy shit, there's Breck
It's Breck
Shea."
Shea.
Oh, but
All right, man.
yeah.
Peanut Gallery. Lots of you jumped on today. Any more comments or thoughts before we wrap this up? And then we're gonna go live. So roster announcements probably next week. Our boy
Well,
Branson is going to be in Disney.
well,
So
I'll be
maybe late
back by
next
the
week.
end of the week, but we'll figure it out. With Thanksgiving and stuff, it's kind of hard next week.
So yeah. Breck Shea works at Bass. Breck Shea works at oh, I gotta point this up. Breck Shea works at Bass Pro Shops, probably. I actually would make a strong argument that Breck Shea is an investor in Bass Pro Shops. Yeah, he made some money over his year.
Breck Shea is the guy that you see in those videos that runs into Best Buy, jumps in the fish tank, grabs a fish with his bare hands, and runs out. That's who Breck Shea is.
I remember back in the day, we used to tailgate next to the black lot where the players play. Players showing up in a Bentley, Mercedes, BMW. Breck Shea shows up in a Ford Raptor, and I'm like, nope,
Yeah.
no surprise there. Like that was the
No.
car he was born to drive.
Yeah. I'm surprised he hasn't done commercials. Man. Prime Stoke City Ben or Breck Shea, man.
All right, let's start wrapping this up. Everybody,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining. If you are new to the show, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. We do this regularly, weekly during the season. A little bit, we're going to see during the offseason. We will be doing regular shows, we just haven't decided what regular means yet. But we promise that there'll be shows with news and updates. We'll be doing shows once the cuts come out, new coach comes out, uh,
We'll be doing some
MLS
new
draft.
we'll be doing collabs too in the off season.
Yeah, if you didn't catch
I
us on
would
Battered Herons the other day, that was a good two hours I am never getting back, but enjoyed
yeah,
every minute.
longest episode ever, and I would expect hopefully we'll see some collaboration in the off season.
In fact, I think they're going right now,
They are.
and I am hoping that at some point Danny has the fortitude to say Mike was right, because I think I've earned that, Danny. And if you listen to this tomorrow,
There's
I just remember that.
there's no way Danny doesn't mention you tonight. There's just no way. As much shit as he's given you all season, there's Sean, it was, and Chris and I were just watching and enjoying.
I made Danny give up and walk off the set,
Yeah,
and I say that with pride.
yeah. Oof, it was crazy. And that was our group chat come to life. But yeah, yeah, we'll be back at you guys soon. Hopefully, maybe the end of next week. If not, we'll be back the following week, to discuss, roster moves, and hopefully, we'll have a new coach to talk about too, and kind of see how that's going. But strap yourselves in because it's gonna be a crazy off season. It's gonna be lots of stuff happening, and we're here for it. And we've got your news when we can.
And definitely we'll be covering some of the other stuff coming around the rest of the league, because I expect this offseason to not be limited to Inter Miami acquisitions. I think we're going to see a lot of acquisitions around the league. Next
Yeah,
year's going to be a lot of
absolutely.
fun.
Absolutely. And if you're new, like, subscribe, share, please, as we try to grow this thing and keep it moving into the next season. We appreciate everyone who joined the chat. If you're listening afterwards and can join when we go live, I know today was an emergency pod. Didn't really give you a lot of time, but you're missing out. The chat is fantastic. As we have our regulars, we've got new people in there. We appreciate you all. Appreciate everyone who listens after the fact. And yeah, I think on behalf of Mike and I would just say thanks for the support as we've now completed our first season and we move into our first off season, and we look forward to continuing to break down Inter Miami with you guys. Mike, you got anything else?
Tata motherfucking out. It's over. We're moving forward. Let's go, Miami. Vamos, Miami.
And on that note, we will see you all in the next one.